Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. First of all, yes, well, I think I have to address like three things here, but yes, we're doing Metazoo. There's a couple of reasons, honestly. Super dirt cheap Black Friday sale. And then number two, yes, the box is open. No, it didn't come like that. Don't worry, I didn't get scammed, or I guess we'll find out if I got scammed. But it doesn't seem like I got scammed. Don't worry about it. I honestly was just not gonna record it. I honestly didn't really see the point as to why. It's a dead TCG by all rights, so I figured there's probably not gonna be much interest, right? But you know what? Honestly, even if it doesn't get a lot of views, even if it doesn't get a lot of traction, I've never opened a dead TCG, like straight up dead TCG. So I figure, you know what, it might be kind of interesting. It might be kind of cool exploring a dead TCG, right? And the one time I did quote unquote explore Metazoo, I actually didn't record an opening. I already had opened it, right? And it was more so to talk about my negative experience buying Metazoo while it was still alive. So my experience with, for example, the delay, right? Which was apparently a big thing in Metazoo. It was just a thing, which is just insane to say. But yeah, just stuff like that. Just we talked about the reception in general of Metazoo and stuff like that. So we'll touch on some of the similar things, but this time we're actually going to be opening a box, and we're actually going to be opening a Metazoo box, because obviously the one box I've only opened for Metazoo ever was the Kuromi box. So I didn't really feel like I got the Metazoo experience. To be honest, that was one of the other reasons I wanted to come back, not only because now it's like super cheap. So I mean, what the fuck? I'll talk about how much I got it for in a bit and how insane it is. But not only is it super cheap, but realistically speaking, I never really got the Metazoo experience. I kind of wanted to see what the game itself was like, right? Like the cards of the game itself, not just the collaboration ones, which is kind of funny, right? You had so many people hating on the what's it called, the Hello Kitty collab, that one, and now it's, I'm pretty sure, the second most expensive set. And in my opinion, even if Metazoo doesn't come back, I don't care what happens, the revival, the non-revival, it just fucking stays that regardless, right? I actually think that's gonna be one of the sets that just ages better, just because it has Hello Kitty characters. And those characters, guess what? I don't care if we're 100 years in the future, motherfuckers are still gonna be buying Hello Kitty keychains, Hello Kitty plushies. It's just such a collectible brand that it's gonna have some longevity. I'm not saying you're gonna go all in on it. No, but I'm saying, hey, if you're looking at it that way, shit, you probably have your best chances on that one. So that one are probably the first set if you're looking at just the Metazoo on its own, right? Like if you're looking at, hey, I want a piece of Metazoo history, then you're probably looking at the first set. But again, if you're just looking for general attractiveness and general collectability, then ironically enough, the set that a bunch of people said kill the game is looking to be the strongest one, or the second strongest one at least. Kind of crazy how things shape up. But man, kind of sad, right? Obviously, in my opinion, not sad, obviously, because of Metazoo. I know it had a bunch of issues, the whole late thing. Apparently, they didn't play their players. The artists had a bunch of issues. Just a bunch of shit that, in my opinion, it was kind of inevitable, right? It was just kind of a thing that was going to happen. Just what kind of sucks, and what kind of, really puts, dampens my mood on this, is that it really does hurt the perception of other games, right? Just because stores have so little capital to essentially try out new things, try out newer games, especially smaller games with like Kickstarter games, that when a game like this fails so hardly, it reflects bad on the entire thing, right? So a lot of stores are gonna be a lot more hesitant to jump into games that might have more potential and might not want to give it a chance just because of it, right? But I'm kind of curious though, where do you guys land? Are you guys playing any other games beyond Metazoo, or shit? I mean, not playing, sorry, but collecting, right? Or did you just collect Metazoo? Are you still only into, Metazoo for whatever reason? It doesn't have to be anything specific. Shit, maybe you like the cards, you like the theme, you put too much money into it, whatever the hell it is. It's a valid reason, I'm guessing. So, kind of curious about that. And if you're just into this one, especially specifically speaking, Kickstarter games. Obviously, if you're into like Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, I mean, it's cool. You can let me know, but I'm mostly talking about like specific, like Grand Archive or Sorcery Kickstarter games, right? Because obviously there's like hundreds and hundreds of Kickstarter games, but I feel like not really a lot make it to the stage where Metazoo did, where realistically speaking, they actually have a couple sets under their belt. They have stores somewhat interested at first. Again, at first, relax. I'm not saying towards the end, but they have so many stores interested in selling it for such a small company, right? I just think that's pretty cool. Obviously, it sucks it turned out the way it did, but just the concept itself, right? I think the closest now would be what, probably like Sorcery. Sorcerer or Grand Archive, I think, are now the two biggest Kickstarter ones. And I think they really learned a lot from what Metazoo did wrong. I think what Metazoo did wrong is just emphasize collectability too much, right? In a market slash audience that just didn't have the capacity to absorb it. Like, you can't start off your game essentially right away, in my opinion, at least. Obviously, this is entirely an opinion thing. This is whatever you think is right for the game or not. But in my opinion, if you're starting off your game worrying about shit like serialized cards and these specific versions of cards, realistically speaking, your game isn't gonna last too long. You're worrying about the wrong shit, right? You're not worrying about growing your game. You're not worrying about incorporating new players. If anything, you're alienating them because you're telling them like, oh, you have to buy a bunch of boxes. Well, maybe not alienating them, but you're not really doing yourself any favors attracting them, because you're saying, hey, you have to buy a shit ton of boxes to get this insane rarely card. And it's like, what the hell? The game just came out. Where can I play it? And just the fact that there's not a lot of emphasis on that, in my opinion, I never really saw that, right? That was like one of the things that Metazoo, in my opinion, was kind of known for just being essentially like a collector game, right? And well, some people would take it even further and insultingly call it even like, oh, the NFT game or shit like that, right? Or like the Investor Bro game or shit like, or like the Wall Street Bros, whatever, stuff like that. Just because a lot of people did kind of bring that energy into it, where they didn't really care about the gameplay or even really growing the game per se. They just kind of wanted to see, oh, hey, my collection, I wanted to go up, kind of like a stock market, right? Like in a yearly thing. When realistically speaking, the first year, in my opinion, you do kind of have to emphasize in, especially, it was kind of a weird messaging, right? If they were trying to be like Pokemon in the 90s, I think they were trying to recreate that, as we're seeing with the art, for example. They're trying to recreate that, like, oh, like sort of kid friendly, obviously much more mature. They have like cryptids and stuff, but that like image, right? That nostalgia. But in my opinion, that kind of conflicts, because Pokemon, what made it so like grow so big in the first place, was not only that collectability, was the fact that cards were everywhere. So people were able to play them in the playground, at their house, with their friends. They were playing them everywhere. So that organically grew the game, right? Versus, I would say, more so inorganically, kind of like Metazoo try to do with like this insane promos with Steve Aoki and, you know, like these big celebrities, where you're not really focusing too much on the game itself. You're more so focusing on the superficial aspect, right? Or, hey, there's this 1 in a billion chase card that is gonna be probably worth a lot of money. Good luck selling it, but it's gonna be worth a lot, so good luck. When you're just focusing on stuff like that and that collectability aspect so hard, let's face it, collectors, yes, they're spending a lot of money. I'm never gonna be one to say, hey, companies should not worry about collectors. In my opinion, they absolutely should. And you have to kind of strike a balance, right? Kind of like One Piece seems to be able to do in a way. And in my opinion, when you skew so much towards the collector side, like in this case, or like in White Shorts case, the difference between this and obviously White Shorts is the audience, right? White Shorts has this huge APs that essentially help sell the box. Because realistically speaking, at least in White, the pulling experience is pretty bad. So you have to get super lucky. And I don't know how bad it was in this one, but just the fact that they're so focused on that really is going to turn off, I would say, like 80% of players, when the majority of people, especially in more small games, are going to be players, right? It takes a while to build that collectability, is kind of my point. It's going to take a couple years. It's going to take you a couple of tries to, hey, get people to actually want to play your game, actually build memories with your game, and actually want to reminisce in your game. Because if it just came out last year, why the hell would I care about this serialized card? This in 1 out of 100. It's, in my opinion, it's kind of irrelevant. But I know that a lot of people might disagree with that. I know that a lot of people might see it differently. I know that a lot of people might say that, hey, no, you have to essentially worry about that and keep that in mind 100% since day one. No mistakes, which in my opinion is just kind of impossible, right? But I don't know. That's just what I think happened. Again, too much emphasis on collectability versus growing the game, right? But hey, it did work for a couple years, so that's what I'm saying. It is still relatively impressive. I know a lot of people like to meme on it, and a lot of people, were essentially kind of celebrating in a way when Metazoo died. There was, because again, a lot of people were seeing this as, realistically speaking, just a collectible vehicle, right? Not really a game itself. Just hey, I'll hold my cards for 3 years and hopefully sell them for double the price type of deal. And again, just in the TCG market where you have games that have those super strong IPs, in my opinion, where you're so small, focusing on that right away is just not the way to go. When you have games like Pokemon that, guess what, most collectors are just going to gravitate towards those kind of games, right? So, I don't know. Kind of an interesting strategy, I definitely will say. It's, again, it did work for a couple of years, so maybe it's actually not that bad of a strategy. You do have to consider that most TCGs fail. I mean, just log into Kickstarter, right? You'll see hundreds, and I mean hundreds, of just random Kickstarter like TCG projects that have thousands of dollars in funding. Some of them have tens of thousands. Shit, some of them have hundreds of thousands of dollars in funding. And you look at them and you're like, what the fuck are we doing? And that's just how it is. It is gonna attract a lot of people that want to essentially use it as a, hey, I'll flip my shit right away, right? They don't really care about the game itself. And I think that's the perception that Metazoo itself had, and it never really was able to shake it off. Because at first, Sorcery kind of had that as well. And to this day, it still does. Some people still, are really negative about stuff. Like when the prices went down a little bit, a lot of people were saying like, oh, fuck this company, fuck this game. It's just how it is, right? But in my opinion, they just never were able to, at least Metazoo was, never able to really shake that perception off. And it really hurt them, especially in bringing in new players. If you never really were able to see the game in stores, and the few times you heard about it is all negative, it's, oh nice, it's actually a pretty cool one. Century Box, but yeah, this is what I mean. Like they're trying to be like Pokemon with the art, like throwbacky, but obviously not very, like all very kid friendly to like Pokemon, right? Like Pokemon is 100% kid friendly. This is literally has a devil, so obviously a little bit different, but hey, the point stands, right? And I think they actually said that, yeah, they were trying to create like that art style, like nostalgic 90s art style. So they were definitely going for that. And hey, it definitely shows. I mean, it definitely does look unique, I'll say. It's not something that is 100% for me, that works 100% for me. But you know what? It's unique. I'll say that. In an era where so many TCGs, especially like anime-based TCGs, kind of unless it's like an IP. If it's based on an IP, obviously that's a whole different thing, which guess what most games are. But like especially like smaller games, I feel like have such a hard time differentiating themselves. So yeah, that's one thing that Metazoo definitely achieved right away, right? They definitely had a very unique look, which again wasn't for everyone. I'll definitely agree. For most of the cards, I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking at them and I'm thinking like, damn, this is so not something that I would probably pay. I think some people were paying hundreds of dollars at one point for some cards, right? So definitely not something that I would do. But again, I do appreciate that it's unique, and I think I can appreciate the heights that at least Metazoo achieved despite its issues, right? Obviously, and I am planning actually on making a video on Metazoo more in depth once I look more into it, like the facts, the numbers, the when it started, when these problems started cropping up, more exact numbers, and I'll do a more so edited video, because obviously I don't want to mess up anything and not be able to edit it or just you guys take it as fact when it's not. So I'll try to take my time with it and make it a good video. But I definitely want to track the history of Metazoo, which is kind of why I bought some of the boxes. I'm kind of trying to buy the whole set, just the whole history of a dead game, because there's not too many and they're relatively cheap, to be honest. I'm not expecting these at all. I mean, I got these for shit. Let's talk about prices, I guess. Might as well. I got this one. This is the one that I paid the most for, and it was 50 when I think they were going for like 65. I won it in an auction on eBay. That was before they shut down. I think that was the only one I got before the shutdown, actually. Then I have the UFO one. I paid 25 for that one. I think I overpaid now. I think it's going for like 20. So kind of funny. I paid 30 for this one. And then, and drum roll please, here are the Seance ones. I paid $10 fucking dollars. plus tax. So how much would that be? Like 1080, yeah, like 1080 something. Like $11. Let's just say $11. I paid $11 for a box of 36 packs. What the fuck? That is cents per pack, bro. That is so crazy. I actually couldn't believe it. That's why, honestly, I also kind of want to record it just to make sure I didn't get scammed. Because, dude, that is such a crazy deal. And you would think that, right? Like, oh, well, yeah, it's a dead game. Realistically speaking, this box is actually going for like $40. So it was a pretty good deal. I'll say that. Obviously, yes, that is still true. It is a dead game. So obviously, most of the cards are at this point gonna be kind of worthless. But I still think it's a kind of crazy deal. I just think that's $10, dude. That's crazy. I'm so happy I ended up pulling the trigger because I was kind of scared there was gonna be a scam, but I mean, it doesn't seem like it. I'm getting a gold card every pack, and I think that's pretty much what you're guaranteed. I haven't really seen a lot of full hollows, but I mean, yeah, right. Oh, sorry. Did I get it? Yeah, no, I haven't really seen. Have I gotten a single full hollow? Oh, yeah, no, look, I have gotten a couple full hollows. I was going to say, aren't those supposedly the ones that people search for? Because a bunch of people in the comments were saying, because they posted it on the group, on the Facebook group, and a bunch of people are saying, like, oh, these are probably searched. And I think that's what people search for usually. But hey, it doesn't seem like it. Yeah, I guess they were just trying to get rid of it. I do know that apparently they're trying to get rid of their inventory. Because obviously, since Metazoo did declare bankruptcy and shut down, they still had a bunch of inventory left over. So I think they're just trying to, like, fire sell it. So I'm guessing these people must have gotten it. I mean, they're selling me a box for $10 with shipping. I don't know how cheap these people can be getting them. That's just insane to think about. Like, that paper is probably worth more at this point. Shit. That is actually insane. But hey, I mean, it is. Oh, hey, no, speaking of, yeah, no, we definitely didn't get a search box, if you want to call it that. Because look, we got another full haul. Or at least I think so. I don't know. Maybe I got a search box. Again, it is $10. So honestly, whatever. Even if I did, it's not the end of the world. 36 packs for $10. Again, that's just insane. That's literally what, 36 cents a pack. So imagine that all these cards, 36 cents. And you know the funniest thing, they're probably worth less than that. RIP. And then I saw a comment, which was the funniest one. It was like, oh, how far has the game fallen? And I was just thinking, like, my guy, you do know the game died, right? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? How far the game has fallen? The game is literally dead. What the fuck? Like, man's talking as if there's gonna be this massive, or it's as if the game just dropped this insane new set or something. Like, bro, the game died a couple months ago. Obviously, people are trying to sell out. What the fuck? Or they did just get a bunch of new inventory, which, again, I don't know how cheap you can get it for that sale to make sense. But you know what? That's one of those things that is not my problem. So I'm not going to ask any questions. That's for the seller to figure out how they're going to make money on that. Not for me. So all I have to worry about right now is opening packs and just having, hopefully, you guys are enjoying the pack opening experience. And look at all these monsters. What the hell? Are you actually telling me every single one of these like a legit creep or a cryptid? Because obviously I know like the more so classics, right? Like the Wendigo, or obviously if you play the Wolf Among Us, it would be the Jersey Devil. Or you would have like Bigfoot or Mothman. I know those, right? Like the bigger ones, but damn, like the fact that there's so many of these. Like, dude, some of these have to be made up. I'm sorry. Wait, what the fuck? Does this say satanic? Okay, definitely not going for it. For a kid-friendly. At least Pokemon will throw allusions to it. Like a bunch of references to like demons and shit like that. But they'll never outright call a Pokemon like Baphomet or something like that. That's just outrageous. I do like it when games are able to do that though. Because you have to realize nowadays, I feel like, I don't know why so many companies, well, maybe not so many companies, just Pokemon, I guess. But TCGs, I feel like, are so dominated nowadays by adults that, because I feel like kids are just playing video games now. They're not really playing card games. So I like when companies kind of embrace that and they actually make, like Flesh and Blood, right? They make, oh, speaking of, isn't that another Kickstarter game? Flesh and Blood, they make the cards like, oh, they make them with blood. They make them demons. They embrace it, right? Because they know what's up. But that one is, what's it called, 16 plus. I don't know this one. I don't know if they were going for the, well, they're probably not. They were going for the E for everyone or whatever. But Oh, it doesn't say. So we got Kane. What the hell? Oh no, Karen. Dude, don't even get me started on these fucking rocks. If you played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, oh, holy shit, dude, those rocks gave you a fucking nightmare. Especially as you got later into the game, I genuinely wanted to throw my fucking controller. I did it though. I got the platinum for it. But anyways, back to Metazoo. Ah man, yeah. I don't know. How do you guys feel about the shutdown? How do you feel about that revival? Again, I'm not gonna speak too much myself on it, just because I don't really have, the information on it. But obviously, you do have the power of YouTube and Google. So let me know how you feel about it. What are the probabilities? Obviously, I'm not looking at it in a way as of, oh, my $10 box is gonna be worth a bunch. No, but I'm kind of curious though if it's gonna be revived, or how you guys feel about it. Will you guys even support it? Because obviously, I'm guessing it would be under different management. Because obviously, most people's problem with Metazoo, and most stores' problem with Metazoo, wasn't actually the IP itself, right? It's kind of one of the funny things that people actually like the IP. It was the management behind it. Specifically, like, I think his name is like Mike Waddell or something, like the owner. A lot of people had problems with him. They were saying that he wasn't really, trying to keep it as hard as he could. So a lot of people wanted to see him gone, and I guess this is gonna be that. If they do revive it, I think it will be hilarious if they just keep him on. They don't change anything. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? But no, I think he's gonna be gone. I think they're gonna probably try some new management, see what shakes up, and I guess see if there's any loyalty, or there's any, yeah, I guess loyalty left in the fan base, or interest, really. 'Cause I wouldn't really call it loyalty, dude. If you got burnt so bad and you don't want to come back, I mean, I wouldn't call that not being loyal. I would call that fucking common sense. So I don't know who's gonna be here for the revival if it does happen. Like I said, I am kind of curious though. If you're just into the IP, I can totally understand that, especially if they do replace the dude, or if they replace at least some people. I don't know if he's, too important to the company that they just can't replace him. He's like a figurehead that they just can't survive without him. I don't think so. I definitely think that they can just make it if anything, a better game, right? Without all that baggage. Because if they do keep him, it's going to lead to some tension. Some people are going to say, what the fuck? He burnt us. Why he's still here? It's just going to lead to, in my opinion, some unneeded and unwarranted tensions for the revival of the game, right? Especially with that audience that you lost, that you're trying to kind of regain in a sense, right? So probably not the smartest move. But again, I mean, hey, it could definitely happen. I mean, I've seen shittier decisions, so we'll have to see about that. We'll have to see. I'll definitely make an update video. Again, I am trying to do the history of Metazoo and kind of why it failed. I don't want to make it too long. Probably like one of my discussion videos. I usually enjoy doing those. I'm trying to get better at like editing and stuff. So I'll try to do that one, and then we can also do the, what's it called? I guess if they announce anything. Obviously, if they announce anything substantial, right? I'm not talking about rumors. I think there's actually a dude I used to watch a lot, like when it was all going down, the whole shutdown thing. His name was Nick's Strength and Pokemon. He doesn't really cover Pokemon. I know he has Pokemon in the name, but essentially he's a Metazoo channel. I'm pretty sure he's like the biggest Metazoo channel at this point. So if you're interested in keeping up with the daily news, the daily uptake more so, and just like essentially any crumb of news regarding Metazoo or the revival, then I would definitely suggest, subbing over to him. He definitely has a lot of good videos. And just talking in a very, I would say, obviously, he's slightly biased, but he manages to still be pretty informative, in my opinion. So I would definitely recommend his videos. I definitely suggest if you just want to be up to date, right? Because obviously, that's who I would watch. Shit, that's probably who I'm going to watch right after this to see if there's been any updates. I don't think so, but we'll have to find out. But no, I'm so curious. Like, would you guys be there for it? Would you guys wait? Would you guys just not want to hear it? I think, all feelings are valid in this case, especially if you were like one of those super early adopters. I completely understand if you just don't even want to hear it. I don't know why you're watching a Metazoo video, but I understand if you don't even want to hear the word Metazoo, right? Or if you didn't get burnt as much and you still like the idea of the cryptid, which in my opinion is just such a cool idea. Like, you have so much shit to pull for. You can imagine that you can do like boxes themed around like regions and shit, like around countries. You can do different, obviously, usually cryptids are gonna be based in different states, but you can expand that, right? You can expand to different like creatures from around the world. Obviously, you start in the States. You can do like regions in the United States. In my opinion, you had a lot of potential that they just didn't really cover. You could do different themes, which is kind of what they did. But again, well, did they really do that? Am I seeing it? Are you seeing a theme in this one? Let's see. I guess. Well, not really. What the fuck? What's the Flying Dutchman doing here? Because I was gonna say, well, I guess it's like ghost spiritually stuff. I mean, then they throw penguins and dinosaurs, so I don't know. I don't know, but I kind of wish they had a more coherent theme, just so that we could, just enhance that theme of the cryptids, right? If that's what you're trying to sell, and in my opinion, that was their mistake, right? They didn't emphasize the idea of the game organically as much. Again, they were trying to pump it up, in my opinion, more artificially by doing all these insanely hard to get cards and focusing all their attention on that and Steve Aoki collabs and all these different shit, right? Trying to make it more appealing in a superficial way rather than going in and making it more appealing in an organic and actual way, right? Again, I could be wrong about that, but that's just my opinion. In my opinion, they just went too fast to think that it was already such a big brand, right? To think it was already super collectible, when in reality, they really were just getting started, right? They had to be a little more patient and build that audience organically, which is something that, in my opinion, is Grand Archive is doing better. Obviously, Sorcery, it's kind of hard to say because Sorcery model of release is so weird. It's like once a year. So that's like a very unique one. But Grand Archive, in my opinion, really has a nice balance between collector and players. You still have cards that are valuable, that collector supers, that collector ultras, that are super hard to pull, trust me. They are very, very hard to pull. And they have some value, right? But not only that, you also have foils in each box that are valuable. However, they are really emphasizing and really working on making their game for the players, right? And they're really trying to build that player base. They're having a bunch of events. They're supporting a bunch. When Fracture Crown flopped their second set, they really went with LGSs and they worked with them and they adjusted numbers and they looked at how they do things. And now the game is in a much better spot. It's growing much more organically. And in my opinion, that's kind of the approach that I hope most TCGs are able to take. Obviously, most TCGs are just going to end up dead. That's just the reality of things. I mean, look at games like Nostalgics. Again, I don't know if I mentioned it already, but Nostalgic, I'm pretty sure that shit died. Like, as soon as it came out, that shit died, it seems like. And then you have games like Battle Spirits, like shit. Even games that aren't really just Kickstarter or independent, it's not guaranteed, right? In this industry, it's very hard to make it. So I do hope that if a company or a new person is trying to create a new TCG, they follow more in the steps of Grand Archive versus the steps of Metazoo. Obviously, I'm not saying everything Metazoo did was wrong. Again, I love the idea of it. I love the idea of the crypto stuff. I love the idea of being able to explore pretty much every state, right? Every state has so much potential, so much possibilities. And again, you could even expand it, really. But it was just the implementation of it, right? Just how they saw the brand itself and how they thought, I guess people saw it as this insanely super collectible. Oh, I already miss it, even though it's barely been a year since this set came out. But I want to pay for this insane version like 20 times more than the regular one. It takes time for that, right? Like Pokemon, for example, shit, even Pokemon, it takes time for it to build, right? For example, look at boxes like Fusion Strike. Last year, that box was, or like for 2 years, that box was like 130. Now it's like 300 almost. It takes time. And that's even with the biggest one. And that being Pokemon, right? One of the biggest, if not the biggest brand in entertainment. I'm pretty sure they said, right? The #1 grossing franchise. Oh, nice. Look at this. What the hell? It's literally just a stick. Nice. But yeah, no, there definitely does seem to be an emphasis on like demons and stuff, I guess. I'm just seeing a lot of random stuff for me to say it's like very coherent. Like, look at this shit. Yeah, I can definitely see that one. Okay, I can see it. Like, yeah, most of these are demon related, but then it's like, what the hell is this? I know it's a token, but, hey, we could definitely have a little more on theme, but I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, a much longer video, 36 packs. So we kind of have to get through it. This is the last pack, though. So, hey, if you sat through this, I appreciate you. And let me know what you felt Metazoo did wrong. That's kind of the question I leave you with, right? I usually try to ask 1 or 2 questions of the video. Why do you think Metazoo failed? Do you think it was because of the things I mentioned? Do you think it was something completely else? Do you think it was completely on the management / Mike Waddell or someone else? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let me know, do you think Metazoo had to die? Do you think it could have been saved? And if so, how? How the hell will you save it? If you were Mike Waddell, what would you have done in the, I'm not going to say in the month leading up to closure, because that's kind of bullshit. That's kind of a hard situation to put you in. So I'll even give you a nice little hindsight, right? I'll give you 2 years. If the 2 years before the shutdown, what would you have done differently? How would you have pressed on? And hey, let me know. I'm kind of curious about that. Because obviously I have my answer, but I think you already know based on, what the hell is this? Okay, nice. Based on what I've been talking about, what it is. So I kind of want to hear your guys'. All right, let's do this. Top 5. Obviously, based on the theme, I kind of have to give you a number 1, 2, 3, 5. All right, let's do this. So, number 1 is going to be the Black Aggie. Which, what the hell? Does it say? Oh, yeah, I was going to say, doesn't it say where they're from? Okay, so yeah, so this is from, MD is Maryland, right? When we're talking about state abbreviations. Let's see if we can find one from, no, this is from Birmingham, Alabama. The Ghost of Sloss Furnaces. Whoa. Look at that. Full hollow, by the way. So, yeah, these are all full hollow, right? Yes. Heat Lighting Orb. So, obviously, not all of them are going to be based on cryptid. This is just an orb, so it's not going to be based on a cryptid, right? Glacial Demon. Like, some of these are so random. Okay, like, yeah, like, some of these are so random. I refuse to believe all of these are real. There's no way. Like, who's out here whose grandpa's out here talking about the fucking Glacial Demon, bro? There's no way. I ain't never seen a show based on the Glacial Demon. I seen, like, I don't know how people watch those Bigfoot shows, by the way. Like, dude, what the fuck? Nothing's gonna happen. There's guaranteed. And if they were to catch any Bigfoot sighting, do you really think it's gonna be on some fucking National Geographic, Animal Planet documentary? Bro, come on. That shit's gonna be in the front news. I don't know how, but anyways, point being, I don't know. I never heard of so many of these. Like, there's no way. Black Aggie, Splinter Cat. Where's this from? Oh, it just says North America. So this one doesn't even have a specific state. Like, oh, that's even more suspicious. At least this one has a state. So this one is a little more believable. This one doesn't even have a state. But anyways, number 4 is going to be the Tombs. I don't know, just some scary stuff. And then Splinter Cat, I had to give a number 5. Because it's a cat. I like cats. So fuck it. Alright, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Kind of a weird one. I've never really, again, opened a dead TCG straight up, just, like fully dead. So kind of an interesting experience. Again, sorry, that's why I wasn't really going through the cards and saying like, oh my goodness. First of all, I don't even know what's good. I don't even know what's a chase card in this one. I don't even know if there's chase cards anymore in Metazoo. But I don't know what that would have been. I don't know if I pulled it or not. I'm guessing not, based on just the fact that I only opened 1 box. And again, that I did only pay $10 for it, so shit, it might have been searched. I don't know. I don't think so. I did pull a bunch of full hollows, it seems like. I think I pulled, like, gold ones specifically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6. I pulled 8. 8 out of 36. I don't know if that's a good ratio or not, but, I mean, it seems pretty good. 8 out of 36 seems pretty generous. Obviously, you still do get the regular gold on every single pack, so they do seem to give you a lot of golds. Again, there doesn't seem to be any higher rarity than that, so I'm guessing it's gonna be one of those magic situations where there's just some insane mythics that you're just like, holy shit, that's like a $40, $30 card. Obviously not, I'm guessing because it's dead, it's not gonna be as expensive, but there's just gonna be some that are way better than others, like 2 or 3 that are just insanely good. And then there's the rest, which are like $1 or a couple cents, which I think that's how Magic does it, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's how it is here. I guess I'll find out. But all right, let me know how you feel about Metazoo. Again, answer the question of the video. How or why do you think Metazoo died? What would you have done differently if you were in the shoes of Mike Waddell? 2 years before, a year before, whatever the time that you choose to be. what would you have done differently to try to save it, right? Or was it just unsavable? Do you think it was just like the Titanic? It was just gonna sink no matter what, right? Right. Hopefully, I'll see you there, and hey, see you.